Did you talk about having a job? Did you mention a job?
Yeah. I work. I'm a so yeah, in between doing music, you know what I'm saying, not in between, over doing music. I work at a group home, you know what I'm saying, for boys, you know. So that is also kind of like a daily mission, you know what I'm saying, trip. Daily. It's not easy at all, you know what I'm saying. You really get challenged, you know what I'm saying, as a believer working in a group home, you know what I'm saying, with boys who have been molested, boys who have been, you know, into drugs, you know what I'm saying, dealing with drug issues, abandonment issues, you know what I'm saying, abuse from all types, you know what I'm saying, from foster cares to their own parents in a lot of times, man. And so every day you're constantly trying to be an example, the best example that you can be, you know what I'm saying. That's not easy, you know what I'm saying. That's not easy all the time, because a lot of those kids sometimes, if you're a male and you've been molested by a male, then as an authority figure in your life, you automatically want to challenge that. You automatically want to have your guard up, you know what I'm saying. And so you have to learn to love people unconditionally, and really try to nurture people's emotions, man, and feelings, you know what I'm saying, and just be mindful of that this person may be suffering from PTSD, you know what I'm saying, not in the same form as of a soldier who's been in the army, but, you know, if your dad's, you know, kicking you down the hall every day, bro, you know what I'm saying, for petty stuff, when I give you a directive, it might come off to you as aggressive. It might come off to you as in a threatening manner. So I have to be mindful of that when I'm dealing with some of the issues that a lot of these boys, man, have dealt with. You know what I'm saying?
How did you develop a burden to do that?
I grew up in a home, single mom. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from Northside Duval County, Jacksonville, stand up. You know, and I suffered with insecurities and a lack of affirmation. I never had that in my life. So once I got saved, and shout out to Gary Nagel, who discipled me at 16 turning 17 years old. This man showed me what it meant to be a man, showed me what it meant to not, he didn't really care so much about the music, he was concerned about my soul, you know what I'm saying, and showed that in action, you know what I'm saying. I mean, the brother was getting up early in the morning, bro. You know, I just got finished, you know, doing my little thing, selling my little weed or whatever. And, you know, to put that stuff down, you know what I'm saying, and to move forward, he got me a job, bro, living landscaping. You know what I'm saying? I was dropped out of school at the time, you know what I'm saying? And he got me a job doing landscaping, bro. This man got up every morning before he went to work, dropped me off into a whole other city so I can work, you know what I'm saying, and then brought me back. That was the hands of God. We talk about, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can talk about with God being active in your life, you know, or God being, us showing love to people, but us showing love to people in action a lot of times is a hard thing because it takes sacrifice. What Gary Nagel did for me was he showed love, bro. He was the hands of God, and he moved in this young man's life who was kind of at wit's end at that time, you know what I'm saying. I didn't know what else to do. That's how I got saved anyway, you know what I'm saying. But, you know, that's what G86 did to me, you know what I'm saying. He showed me love. So from that, what happens to me, I just regurgitate, you know what I'm saying, back into my community. So it started with just the young boys on the corner, you know what I'm saying. I stayed at Highland Pines in Jacksonville, not Jacksonville, in Tampa, Florida, North 48th Street, you know what I'm saying. So, you know what I'm saying, y'all can go check it out, you know what I'm saying. No, but it was kids in the community, you know what I'm saying. I was driving the church van, and man, those kids used to, I just started showing them love slowly but surely, man. So I started to get a lot of kids on my corner, you know what I'm saying, and just bring them to church, you know what I'm saying. And then I became the youth pastor. Wasn't trying to be no youth pastor. I just became a youth pastor of a church. But I started realizing that these kids had issues that was going on in their homes as well, you know what I'm saying. So me just trying to extend love to kids that was right in my community, trying to, you know, I had a little brother as well, you know, my little brother, you know, was involved in the community, you know what I'm saying, with different things and so on and so forth. So my heart already went out to the streets, you know what I'm saying. I lost family members to the streets. I've lost, you know, friends, you know what I'm saying, to prison and all this kind of stuff like that. So for God to save me, I felt like it was just my duty to try to help these kids, you know what I'm saying. So instead of selling them weed, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth, I started, you know, giving them beats, giving them music, trying to help them learn how to rap, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And you know, it just kind of, when I found out that I could actually get paid to do something like this, you know what I'm saying, it was kind of like a no-brainer, you know what I'm saying, because well, kind of slow down a little bit. I had to go back to school to get my diploma. So I went back to school, got my diploma, because I had dropped out of school, bro. It was a crazy story, you know what I'm saying, but got my diploma, thank Jesus, because before Christ, I tried to go back to the GED schools and it did not work, you know what I'm saying? But I got my diploma, ended up going to Bible college, you know what I'm saying? Myself, KB Allis, went to Bible college. And, you know, I found out I could actually, you know, get paid to do what I was already doing for free, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I got into the group home. My heart is still for the kids. My burden is still to see them, you know, come out of this system, because in a lot of ways I feel like the system is not for them, you know what I'm saying? A lot of these kids, they just go through these cycles, man, and they get caught up in this foster care system, which kind of leads a lot of times them going back to prison, getting over medicated. It's so much, like, these people be experimenting on these kids, you know what I'm saying, for real. So, you know what I'm saying, it's like, yeah, you know, I have a heart for that, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully one day, man, the Lord will provide it where I can actually open my own group home, you know what I'm saying? After this music thing is over, or, you know, hey, maybe, you know, in the next couple of years, maybe God, you know what I'm saying, will transition, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he kept me away from music for a reason, you know, he wanted me to do this. So, you know, we'll see, man. But that's what my heart is, you know what I'm saying, as far as the kids and stuff is concerned, you know? I want to see them, yeah, man.
Any most memorable moments, like ministering in that group home or in that context?
It can be a double-sided question, but I think when you really get to see kids who are in that shell state start to open up, I think that's more rewarding, because you'll hear the case managers, you'll hear the therapists kind of say, this kid never talks, this kid will never speak. But when that kid will be like, hey, Mr. Trevor, can you come here down at the end of the hall, and then come and tell you something that is dear to their hearts, or like a secret that they've never shared with somebody, and they just break down crying, you know what I'm saying? I think those moments right there are more touching, because it's like, bro, God, you got me here for a reason, you know what I'm saying? You got me here doing things that, reaching people that, like I say, that some people can't reach, you know what I'm saying? Our job is to work with the therapists, work with the case managers, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, as a group home staff, you know? So when I'm able to, a child, you know, to reach a child, you know, so to touch a child in a place where their therapist and case manager hasn't, bro, I think that's rewarding for me, because now I'm able to start to see change, and those seeds that I'm sowing, you know what I'm saying, I'm starting to see them birth, you know what I'm saying, and it's really serious on, if you're working in that environment, how you live, because if you're not being the example of Christ that you're talking about, that you're preaching about, then what's the Jesus, all this Jesus mess and all this Jesus stuff you talking about, the hope that you did provide, the seed that opened up, you know what I'm saying, that got them to open up. If I'm not living that, you know what I'm saying, then it kind of like sets a real, it kind of puts them back in where they were before, you know what I'm saying? So I think that, you know what I'm saying, yeah, we might just be able to leave it, because that all kind of coincides, you know what I'm saying, to everything. So I like to see the kids doing better, bro. That's the most rewarding part of it, and because it's countless of stories. I've been working in this field now for over 5 years, so that's, yeah, man, yeah.